The sea erupts without warning, waves crashing against steel with a roar that drowns every other sound. Snow lashes sideways, sharp as shards of glass, cutting across the deck. The wind howls, cables snap tight, and iron cages slam with bone-shaking force. Men grip the rails, their bodies braced against the violence of nature. In a heartbeat, the ocean decides who lives and who vanishes beneath the cold. This is not a story about food. This is survival. For centuries, the ocean has fed millions, but in the same breath, it has stolen lives. Every catch is a gamble with nature, where one wrong move means no return. The sea gives, the sea takes, and only the strongest endure. Far to the north, where daylight fades and storms never rest, lies Alaska. Here begins a battle few dare to fight. A battle not just for food, but for existence itself. And at the heart of it all, hidden beneath the freezing black water, waits the giant crab. Alaska is a land of extremes. Winds cut through heavy coats and waves climb nearly 20 feet before crashing in white spray. The air bites with salt and ice-freezing seawater into needles that sting the skin. Against this vast, merciless stage, boats appear as fragile specks of steel. Every crash of surf and groan of metal reminds all who listen that nature rules here. In this unforgiving place where survival is never promised, the legendary crab fishery was born. Sunburned faces stare into the storm, their skin weathered by years of salt and wind. Calloused hands grip ropes thick as wrists, the knuckles raw but steady. Eyes narrow with focus, trained by generations who lived and died at sea. Their weapon is not a spear or a net, but a steel cage weighing over 600 pounds. The pot trap looks simple, square-frame steel mesh in a single one-way entrance. Yet inside lies a design born of patience and necessity. Small crabs slip through gaps. Females carrying eggs are released, only the strong remain inside. The clang of metal, the smell of rust and bait, the cold bite of the ocean all fuse into this tool of survival. To outsiders, it is only a cage. To these men, it is a legacy, a symbol of endurance, discipline, and the fine line between feeding millions and preserving life for the future. Before the first trap ever touches water, the real battle begins on shore. Captains gather in dimly lit rooms, charts spread, wide eyes fixed on weather reports that predict storms or silence. A single wrong choice can mean empty tanks or worse, names carved into stone. Position is everything. Timing is life or death. On-deck preparation feels like ritual. Men slice fresh herring and mackerel into chunks, the sharp scent of blood and salt filling the cold night air. Buckets clang against steel as oily hands pack bait bags, each piece meant to lure giants from the dark. The air vibrates with tension, every clang of metal echoing the stakes. Steel cages slide across the slick deck, their weight pounding against the boards with a hollow boom. Crewmen lock thick cables into place, muscles straining as the winch screams. Then with a violent splash, the first pot disappears into the black water, swallowed whole by the sea. Waves hammer the hull spray, stings the skin, and the smell of diesel mixes with salt and iron. As each trap sinks into the abyss, tension grows. Success or failure now lies hidden beneath the freezing depths. What do you think will happen when the net comes up? Guess in the comments before you see it. Hours turn into days as the pots rest on the ocean floor, hidden beneath hundreds of feet of black water. The waiting is relentless. Anxiety grips the crew. Sleep becomes shallow, and every gust of wind carries the fear of a sudden storm. Out here, silence is not peace. It is the weight of uncertainty. Dangers never sleep. A passing ship may slice through the lines without warning. A powerful current could drag the traps miles away. And sometimes the crabs simply refuse to enter, leaving the cages empty and the crew's hopes sinking with them. Success depends on more than strength. It is a fragile balance of experience, faith, and pure luck. As the hours stretch, every man knows that what lies below will decide whether the voyage was worth the risk or nothing but loss. The winch screams as the steel cable tightens, dragging a massive pot from the abyss. The trap rises slowly, dripping with algae barnacles and the weight of the unknown. Water explodes across the deck in icy sprays, soaking the men to the bone. The sharp scent of salt and rot fills the air, mixing with diesel and sweat. Then comes the reveal. The cage bursts through the surface, slamming against steel with a thunderous crash. Sometimes it is overflowing with life. Bright red king crabs thrashing their claws, stretching more than a foot wide, snapping at anything near. The crew erupts, shouting over the roar of the sea faces, split with tired but triumphant smiles. On deck, the catch is never taken for granted. Each crab is measured carefully, its shell scraped clean of seaweed, its claws still snapping in the cold air. Only those wider than 6.5 inches are kept. Females carrying eggs are returned to the waves, their survival ensuring future generations. The smallest crabs slip back into the sea, vanishing in the white foam. The process is fast, efficient, and relentless, a rhythm of survival and respect. Those that pass the test are lowered into chilled seawater tanks where temperature and oxygen are controlled with precision. Every movement echoes a harsh but necessary truth: the ocean demands balance. Out here, danger is constant. Storms roll in without warning, walls of ice crashing across the deck. Winds scream through frozen rigging, while seawater at 28 degrees turns deadly in seconds. A single slip can send a man overboard, vanishing into the Black Sea before anyone can react. The cold steals breath faster than the waves themselves. Every crab pulled from the depths carries a hidden cost. Behind the bright red shells are stories written in blood, sweat, and sacrifice. For some crews, the price of survival is measured not in pounds of crab, but in lives lost to the unforgiving ocean. For these men, crabbing is not simply work, it is a way of life carved by salt and wind. The trade passes from father to son, a tradition shaped by centuries of storms and survival. On every vessel, stories linger in the creak of wood and the clang of steel, reminders of those who came before. To many, fishermen stand as symbols of freedom and independence. Their lives are bound not by walls but by tides and seasons. In their devotion to the sea, there is both hardship and love, a bond that defines culture as much as it sustains survival. The greatest skill of a crab fisherman is the ability to read the sea. A shift in current, a drop in temperature, even the faint smell of salt and decay can reveal where crabs gather. Generations have mastered these signs, knowing when the giants migrate and where they hide. Today, GPS maps the ocean floor, sonar scans the depths, and digital sensors measure every fluctuation. Yet no machine can erase the risks. Storms rise too fast, ice builds too heavy, and one mistake can still end in tragedy. Technology guides the hunt, but survival remains in human hands. If this story moved you, comment yes below. If the courage of these fishermen amazed you, type wow in the comments.